Good morning. I thought I would do a little meal prep and bring you along and demonstrate a few Tupperware products. The first thing I'm going to do is make a probably 3 to 4 meatloaves. I bought a package of hamburger and it was $3 a pound and it's 4.955 pounds. So I'm going to say it's 5 pounds. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is chop up my onion using our chopper. And it comes with this seal on the inside, so you take that off and you put it on the bottom and it keeps it from moving around your counter or table. The blades also come with this blade protector. So you take that off when you're using it and stick it in there. Now for the onion, I'm going to clean it and quarter it. So I'll tip you down so you can see. Here's our Tupperware knife. It comes with a nice cover so you don't have to worry about stabbing yourself when it's in the drawer. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the ends off. And I have a container over here that I'm putting those in. And then I'm going to take the outside peeled thing off. And then I'm going to quarter it, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to chop up onion. I tell you, I love it. So I'm going to quarter it. And then I'm going to, I always put my finger over this just so nothing gets in it. Probably won't with an onion, but I'll just put that in there. And then I put the top on, which here's the motor. And there's little slots here you can see whether you've got it in right. I'm gonna move my knife out. So I'm gonna move this bowl so you can see what's going on. To chop up this onion, it probably is gonna take about 5 to 7 pulls. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's as good as I want it. So I will take my blade out, set it to the side, and I will set everything else to the side. And now I'm going to put on my gloves. I wash my hands, and you don't have to wear gloves if your hands are clean, but some people get grossed out by touching hamburger. I don't. And let me see, are these the gloves that are too small for me? I think they are. All of a sudden, all my gloves are small. Let me find another pair of gloves. Well, those are probably the biggest I have right now. And it's almost 100 degrees outside. It's not that hot in here. Oh, forget it. I'm not gonna wear gloves. Too hard for me. Okay, so I'm using my Fix and Mix bowl to mix this in because I need a big bowl because I'm going to be mixing things. And the Fix and Mix bowl, I believe, is 28 cup. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I have 5 pounds of hamburger, so I'm gonna put 1 egg per pound. So I'm gonna put 5 eggs in. These are farm fresh eggs. There's 1, 2, my granddaughter, who's only 11, can do this thing where you smack them and open them both with one hand. I can't do that. I haven't practiced, but. So here's the 5th one. And I have a plain wash rag here so I don't have to jump up and run to the sink every time. I did forget my spatula, so I'll be right back. Because I want to scrape all that onion goodness out. Practically everything I use is Tupperware. So I've got my 5 eggs in there. And I'm gonna scrape my onion in there. And like I said, I wanna use my spatula scraper thing because I don't want to waste, I don't like to waste food. And when I see videos and people just dump it in and there's a whole bunch still in the thing, I think, goodness, that's a lot of flavor you're leaving there. Ooh, those onions are oniony. All right. One thing, when you buy this chopper, this right here comes apart and you want to just wipe that down. You don't want to immerse that in the water, because it's bad for the motor, because this is a string. And it's something like, if you, every time you pull that, it's like 25 chops with the knife. So I pulled it 7 times. 7 times 25 is what, 175? 25, 50, 75, 100. Yep, 175 chops. But it took me boom, boom, boom. You saw how quick that was. So I'm just kind of mixing this together, and now I'm gonna, this is one of my favorite seasonings. It's called Complete Seasoning. And I use that on tons of stuff. So I'm gonna put a generous amount in there. Probably 2 tablespoons full. And now I'll add my meat. But before I do that, before my hands get icky, I want to show you what containers I'm going to be cooking these in. I'm going to be putting them in the freezer. And Tupperware has these glass containers with snap lids. Let me get one in a box and show it to you. They're called Permaglass, and they come in a box, and they have a snap lid like that. And they're in our catalog, of course. Grab my lids while I'm here. All right, because I didn't want to get all messy and then try to show the containers. So I'm going to turn you a little bit so you can see. I have my 4 containers on a tray so that I can carry them easy. All right, so now I'm going to put my hamburger in. It's a super simple recipe. I don't use tons of spices and stuff. Some people go crazy to town. I don't like that. So I'm going to kind of crumble it up a little bit in there. And for my bread part of it, I like to use panko type breadcrumbs. These are Italian breadcrumbs, and I think I got these at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to go ahead and put a few in there. I should have shaken it up first, but I'll shake it up now and put some of those in there. And I'll probably have to add more in a little bit. All right, I'm gonna start out with kind of just mashing this up. No, I'm not. Just gonna get my hand into it. As you know, your eggs and onions and all of that are at the bottom. And with hamburger ground meat, you don't want to overwork it, but you still got to mix it. So you want to kind of mix and fold type of thing. And you want to get down in the bottom and get that goodness, all that onion and egg down there. And I feel like I'm going to need some more breadcrumbs. And there's no exact science to this because I don't normally make 5 pounds at a time, but I'm trying to do where I have a bunch of food in the freezer and I can just pull something out and make it. These I like to cook in the oven. A lot of the meals I make are for the crock pot, but these are for the oven. These glass bowls are that Tupperware sells. They are good in the freezer, microwave, oven, what's that other deal? Air fryer. I use those all the time. It's feeling better. You don't want it too dry, but you also don't want it just sloppy wet. And you want everything mixed in. All right, that's plenty of breadcrumbs. Maybe just a little too much, but oh well. All right, so I'll put the lid on that, get that out of the way, and I'll pull my containers up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is, I'm thinking 4. I hope I don't need more than 4 because I only brought out over 4. So I'm going to divide this. Ooh, I almost think I could have done 5. But I'll just, gotta leave room for the lid to go on. And I also want to leave some room for grease because this is 81.29 beef. Oh, this is fine. This is just fine. All right, so I'm going to divide those up a little more evenly. Turn you back around, and I'm trying to learn how to edit, so maybe you won't see all that craziness, the reaching and all that. We'll see. I did edit a video and put July 2023 on it. So when you're freezing things, air is your worst enemy. So you want to fill these up as much as you can, and you don't want to wait forever to use them. I would say 3 months in the freezer is about as long as you want to leave them. And these are fairly even. And these are plenty size for, I feed my husband, myself, and my mom comes over almost all the time for lunch. And so this is perfect size for the 3 of us. And that way you don't have a ton of leftovers. Although some of the freezer meals I make are kind of meant for 2 meals. And you can split those up. But I figure, why cook it twice? Cook it once and eat it again the next day. So it just kind of depends on what it is. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Well, actually, I think I'll probably be all right if I do this. Between things, we're going to have to take a minute and clean up. So now I'm going to put the lids on them. And I like these because they are the snap and snap. So I put it on there, and then I securely snap the sides. And you get to choose when you're ordering whether you want blue or red. And when they came out as Tupperware samples, you know I had to get a bunch of them. My friends that sell Tupperware that didn't want one, had them order them for me. But these are available in the catalog online, or if you live by me, you can come out here and I have some in stock. All right, so now what am I going to do? How am I going to know when I put these in? Well, we're going to mark them. And I buy these chalk craft and decor chalk writer pens from Dollar Tree. So I'll write meatloaf, $7.23. And this pen or chalk washes right off. So you don't want to be like smearing it around because it will come off. All right. So I'm going to take these over and put them in the freezer. I'll turn so you can see me putting them in the freezer, because that's a big thrill to watch me put them in the freezer, right? I'm at my Tupperware trailer, and I have a lot of Tupperware around it. I also have 2 big freezers. At some point I will take these over and put them at my house, but for now I'll put them in here while we're working. The next thing I'm going to make is sausage stuffed peppers. So we got to go over and do some cleanup. So I'll take you along for that excitement too. I'm going to do some little bit of washing, little bit of wash up, and then I have to get my other stuff out. Oh, I wanted to wash out my rag, and I also forgot to clean my peppers ahead of time, so we're going to be cleaning peppers. So here's the top of that chopper, and I just wash it real good, make sure you got some soap on there, and I rinse it like that, you know. So in my bowl that I'm using, let that get a little bit warm, and just I'll use that for my wash basin. So when I'm washing my blade, I'm very careful, and I put it down where I know I'm going to see it. I'm not going to accidentally stab myself with it, because those blades are sharp. And when I wash it, I just hand wash everything. But we don't even have a dishwasher, so everything is hand washed at our place. And I need this bowl because I'm going to be using it to mix up my stuff for my stuffed peppers. All right. So my rag is clean, my bowls are clean. And I'm gonna go get my peppers and a different knife. A little one that's got a smaller thing, I think. And we're going to go and clean those. Then I'll wash them, and then we'll mix up the sausage stuff. Let me grab my peppers. Let me show you what kind of peppers I bought. I guess I should have bought 2 of these. They're not going to make very many. I bought these mini sweet peppers. They were a 16-ounce bag, and I thought, well, that's a pound. That ought to be enough, but maybe not. So I just have a Tupperware container that I'm using to put my stuff in. So I'll take these out, and I'm going to clean them, and then we'll wash them. So all I'm going to do is cut the end off. And these peppers don't usually have much seed, so it's not a big deal to clean it out. That one had more seeds than usual. But they're not hard to clean out. And I just thought these would be good. I guess there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 14. So I can divide that into 2 meals. I think when I edit, I can put this part on fast forward. I think. So we'll see. I just went and picked up my grocery order this morning, so I thought this is a perfect time to get this meal prep done. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to debone chicken breast that I bought for $1 a pound. And then I'm going to be making a few recipes with that for the freezer. My goal is to have about 20 to 25 freezer meals. And then the other times I can make things that I don't freeze ahead of time, like chicken fried steak, or let's say we want something else, hamburgers or something, you know. The hamburgers are already made and frozen. I don't need to make any recipe to put in the freezer for that. Whoops. So we compost, so that's why I save this stuff, so I can go compost it in the garden. And like I said, I'm going to put all these in this freezer, and then I will bring some over to the other freezer. And I'll probably put these in gallon freezer bags instead of those other containers, because I want to be able to lay them flat and freeze them. And then when I cook them, I was thinking about that. I need to look at the directions and see what it says on how you cook them. I didn't even think about preparing that ahead of time, knowing what I'm doing all the way. I used to have a friend in Oklahoma, and she cooked at the school, and she was very much an excellent cook and followed the recipes to a T. And I would just try things and didn't write them down, and so about drove her nutty, because every time it was consistency for her. Everything was perfect every time. So that drove her nuts when I was the opposite and just like, oh, this tastes good. This time, well, this is different than last time. Drove her batty. But oh well. All right, I'm gonna go wash my my cutting board off and my peppers, and I'll let you look from here. And then I'll be right back, and we'll put the recipe together, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So this time, I'm just rinsing this cutting board off so I'm not, doing anything spectacular. And I could put these in a colander, but I already got the bowl out. And who wants to keep washing dishes, right? So I'm just gonna kind of drain it like that with my hand. And now, I'll go get the sausage, and I better get out my zipper bags. And here's my recipe. I don't think I need anything out here besides sausage. Where is my sausage? Oh, there it is. And I think I only am going to need, I'm going to only get out 2 of these sausages. I have 4, but I think I'm only going to get out 2. What? What? I don't know. Look by my purse, and also I know there's some more in the bathroom. The mosquitoes have been terrible this year because we've actually got rain. So we have to put bug stuff on. So what works real well for that is that Johnson & Johnson baby stuff, and it's got aloe and something else in it. So I'm gonna get 3 bags. I just bought a new zipper bag thing. Get 3 bags out. But you can't work here if you don't have that mosquito stuff. And he couldn't find the stuff that I already had out, but that's one thing. If you don't put things back exactly where you keep them, it's hard for people to find them. So we try really hard to put things back where they belong. So obviously I didn't do that. All right, let's look at this recipe. See what we need to do. And you can always adjust and change the recipe to suit yourself. So the recipe says 6 links, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm gonna dump my peppers onto this pan. So I have them here. And how many peppers? Oh. This says to put onions in it, and I did not bring the onions. So I'm going to be cutting this part out. Alrighty, I'll be back. I had to go next door to get an onion, so I have to grab my chopper again. And I better get my spatula too. So we're going to chop another onion. Second onion chopping demo. Alrighty, put these aside for a second. I bought these sausages. I think I got a couple recipes mixed up, but that's okay. We're gonna adapt. That's what you do when you use what you got. Although I did get an order, but obviously I grabbed the wrong recipe, but that's okay. Okay. So I'm gonna put my chopper back together. There's little slots there. You slide in there and turn it. See how quick that was? So I'm gonna do the same thing I did earlier. Oh, so sorry. We better for sure edit that baby. Alrighty, my knife was underneath it there and I grabbed it. I was gonna go live, but I thought, you know what? You're gonna screw up, so you probably better not. So it's a good thing, because now I can edit this and hopefully make it look better. I watched an editing video on how to edit videos. So I'm sure that my first one is not going to be too charming. Alrighty. And like I said, 7 pulls is usually the best for me. I kind of hope it gets stuck. Nope. But if it ever gets stuck when you're using this, you just take it and shake it like this, because like maybe a piece of onion or something got stuck on the blade. I already pulled it once, so I pulled it 6 more times. And there's a couple pieces that might need a little bit more chopped. I kind of want this onion a little bit more chopped than the other, because this is going to be stuffed into those peppers. But that was so stinking easy. I mean, oh my goodness, it's so easy. All right, get my bowl back over here. And it says to take the sausages out of their casings and put them in the bowl. And then we'll be adding our seasonings. So we're going to, this is the first time I've ever done this. We're going to be adding this to the bowl. Basically, it's just Italian sausage in a casing. That's all it is, really. Throw that away. And maybe I'm only going to do 1 package, and we'll just see where it is, because if I have to mix up some more, I will. Because yeah, I think 1 package is probably going to do it. Get all that sausage goodness out. Well, we just got done with the fair, and I entered a few things. I entered a barn quilt, a basket of crocheted flowers, and a baby Afghan. And I got first place on the baby Afghan. And the only reason really is because I was the only one that entered, but anyway. And then on my basket of flowers, I got a 2nd place. And on the barn quilt, I got a 2nd place. I entered a different barn quilt that I had made the year before, and I got 2nd place on that. So I said, I'm going to see next year if I can get another 2nd place, just because it's kind of funny. I didn't think I'd get anything this year, because last year there was only 2 barn quilts entered. It was the first time they had that category, and I didn't think I got 2nd place last year, and this year there was a whole bunch of people that entered. All right, so it says garlic powder, and I have granulated garlic, which is what I'm going to use. A big container, and it's brand new, so I know I have to open it. And it says 1 teaspoon. So you know I'm not going to measure that. I'm going to figure out what I think is 1 teaspoon. And if you like other seasonings, or you don't like a particular seasoning, or you don't like onions or whatever, don't put them in. Change it up. Make it yours. All right, that looks like about a teaspoon. And then it said half a teaspoon of basil and half a teaspoon of oregano. There's basil. Oregano. And what else? I'm going to put my onion in there. That might be a lot of onion, but it's a good thing we like it. So this is going to be interesting. So anyway, let's see how it says that you should cook it. It says to cook in the oven, preheat to 400, put it in a small baking thing and cover with foil. Bake 1 to 1.5 hours covered, and then uncover and bake for an additional 30 minutes or until sausage reaches an internal temperature of 165. And then it says in a crock pot you can cook it for 6 to 8 hours or until peppers are tender. So, but it doesn't say anything about using like any juice or anything. So this sausage must make juice. Anyway, so these are my ingredients. So now I have to mix this all up. Make sure it's well combined. I'm glad all three of us like onions, because that probably was a little more onion. I probably should have went with half a onion, because that's a lot of onion. But as I'm stuffing these, if I think that I'm going to need more sausage, I'm not going to add more onion, obviously. So I'm stuffing these peppers, and I'm stuffing them way down into the bottom so that they're full of stuffing. And then I'll set it aside, and I'll just keep stuffing them. Let's see, I said there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This time I got 15. So I guess I'll put 5 in each bag. I don't know, is that going to be enough? Maybe I'll only make it into 2 meals. I suppose if I have extra of the sausage stuff, I'll just make them into meatballs, because we're sure not going to waste it. This one is not taking much, because it's a baby. But I love these little sweet peppers. They're so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to divide this into 2 meals, because I'm thinking that that's not going to be enough to satisfy. And you just can divide this up for your own family. If you have one person, you can either, make several meals, or you can just cook it and then eat it for a while, or cook it and freeze it into a smaller container. I'm just kind of thinking I don't want to keep cooking. Boy, I'm glad I didn't use any more sausage. So what I'm going to do, since I'm thinking I'm going to have extra sausage, I'm probably going to freeze my meatballs, and then I'll put them in a bag. These are going to be good, though, I can tell. So that means I need to put my other sausage packages in the freezer. And then this would be good in a regular green pepper, a full-size green pepper as well. This stuffing part. Next time I will not go quite as crazy on the onion, maybe. But I couldn't find any like loose ground sausage, except for like breakfast sausage, and it's called for Italian sausage. So, man, that's a lot of onion. Oh well. It's gonna work out. I've got 4 more after this one. Like I said, I'm stuffing them way down in there. But these little peppers, a lot of times we just clean them and just eat them with a meal, because they're so good. But it didn't call for any eggs or anything. And it did call for olive oil, but I didn't think I wanted to put it in olive oil. So I suppose you could drizzle some olive oil on it when you cook it. And for the meatloaf, let's go back to the meatloaf. For every pound of hamburger I use, in anytime I'm making meatloaf, I use an egg. So if I'm having a pound and a half of hamburger, I'm going to use 2 eggs, because I want at least a pound for an egg for every pound. Yeah, this is going to be 2 meals, not 3. Plus I'm going to, whoops, I guess I'm done. All right, so now I got to make some meatballs, because this is how much I have left. So I probably could have done those peppers with 3. You know what I'm wondering? Do I need an egg in here? I think I do. I'm going to go clean up and go get an egg and put in here for the meatball portion. So I'm going to put this other sausage away and get out an egg. But before I do that part, I think I'm going to package these up and mark them. I'll move that to the side for a minute, and I will package my peppers. So I'm going to write on my bags the date and crock pot or let's see, 6 to 8 on low, or 400 1.5 covered, 30 minutes uncovered. All right, gotta write the same thing on the other one. Oh, guess what? I didn't put what they were, but you'd think you'd know. Stuffed peppers. What was it? 6 to 8 on low, or 1.5 on 400, and then 30 minutes uncovered. Better write what it is on here, because you always say, oh, I won't forget what it is. And what happens? But these are going to go in the part of my freezer where I put the food prep items, my meal preps, I should say. So I shouldn't mix those up. Okay, so I'm going to try to divide these up evenly as far as big and small. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gosh. Okay. Changed my mind once again. I'm doing it all in one, because that just doesn't look like very much food. And then if we don't use it all, we will have it for leftovers. So now I have a bag that I'm not using, that I marked on. So one of the things that they say is the enemy of freezing food, is air. So you try your best to get all the air out. All right, so I'm going to lay that there. I'm gonna bring my bowl back. Put an egg in. Surely I don't need breadcrumbs, do I? I wonder. Maybe I better open my breadcrumbs just in case. This is a guessing by golly meal. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need some breadcrumbs. Won't go too crazy with them. But I think it's gonna have to do it to help bind them together. I like to make my own breadcrumbs. I make my own bread, and so if I have bread that's getting older, I'll make breadcrumbs. I'm gonna need more. There's a fine line between the right amount and too much and too dry. I think this is it. I think we're at the line. Yeah, that's way better. I have a trouble with that when I'm doing salmon patties too, because you got to have enough to keep them together, but you don't want them so much that they're dry. So I'm going to make a bunch of decent sized meatballs, and I'm going to freeze these for 24 hours, and then I'll put them in a bag. And then that will be the end of today's meal prep. I'm making decent sized meatballs. And this will probably be another meal. I'll just make meatballs and something. Well, as you can see, I use a lot of Tupperware items. So they're very handy in my kitchen. I mean, everything I use isn't Tupperware, but I sure do use a lot of Tupperware. One good way to get Tupperware without and get discounts all the time is to become a member or a subscriber or whatever they call it. For $15 you can join. You don't get the kit or any of that stuff, but you can get sample products. You can get everything for less. So anyway, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I will show you the last part of what we did. Well, that's a good accomplishment. I made 4 meatloaves and 1 bag of peppers, stuffed peppers. Kind of got this messy, so I'm gonna clean it up. And then I'm gonna lay my peppers in. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9.